All right, Bulls and Bears, back with another dose BX4 news. Let's go ahead and get into it, folks. We're seeing economic deterioration like never before. And when we say economic, we mean the backbone of the economy, the U.S. consumer. Sorry, I had a little coughing fit earlier. I had a tickle in my throat, so I have to take this drink here. We're seeing the deterioration like never before, folks. Consumers are falling behind. Now that people have to pay back their student loans, or if they don't pay it back, it's impacting their credit. Things are looking pretty dire for tens of millions of people. And this is starting to spill over into the broader economy. We're going to get into that in more detail. Also, a very dire prediction that we're near the end, folks, near the end. This is the end of everything. This is not my prediction, but some very well-researched individuals are going to chime in here in a little bit. We're going to go over that here. Well, let's go ahead and get started right here. This is about manufacturing jobs. And of course, we know that there's a big push to bring manufacturing jobs back to the U.S. Well, it turns out companies already are struggling to fill manufacturing positions. So what's going to happen if more manufacturing jobs come back to the U.S., right? U.S. people aren't accustomed to working hard. They may work long hours, but as far as physically demanding work, not many people want to do that. Of course, we still have people working those jobs: construction, road repairs, roofing, even farming, all these physically demanding jobs. Well, a lot of those are being done by people that came to the country legally or not legally. A lot of them are being done by that. So with more people exiting the country that were doing these jobs, companies are already seeing problems filling these jobs. The workforce may not be ready for it, even as the tariffs bring manufacturing jobs back. Many existing positions are still unfilled. So even before jobs begin coming back, if they do end up coming back, we're seeing Americans don't want to do these hard laborious jobs, right? People want the cushy jobs. They want to sit down. They want to be, behind a desk. They want to walk around, maybe a realtor, carry a clipboard, carry a laptop, computer, what have you. Nobody wants to do the physically demanding jobs. Some people do, but again, a lot of people that do want to do those jobs, they're not, may not be able to stay in this country here. So I'll let you decide, if it's good or bad. But what do you think about this? I mean, more jobs are coming back to the U.S. How are they going to get people to work these jobs? Are they going to have to pay a lot more to fill these positions? Because if you put out a job posting and you're trying to find somebody to run the machine or manufacturing or just do manual labor, you are going to have to raise those wages to get that position filled. Otherwise, no one's going to want the job. So the companies that will bring jobs back, will they have to raise the wages so high that it's going to basically not be a benefit? Because remember, they're trying to get around the tariffs by bringing the companies back to the U.S. But if you're having to pay more in wages than you would have paid paying the tariffs, then you're back where you started, right? So I think it's a big mess. I don't think there's going to be a big boom in manufacturing here in the U.S. for those two reasons. People don't want to do it. People are out of shape. People are not healthy. And even if they are, they just don't want to do it. It's not glamorous. Like, Americans want the glamorous life. They watch reality shows where these people are making millions of dollars just for being on camera. People want to do that type of thing. They want the glamorous life. They want a lot of money, but they don't want to get the blood and the dirt and the grit. Right? That's what I think. Please let me know what you think about this down in comments here. I think that's what it is, folks. So we're going to see what happens here this year, and we're already seeing this. We're already seeing reports like this where even current positions are being unfilled. So people often ask, when's it going to happen? When's it going to happen? When's what going to happen? It's happening now. It's happening every day. I mean, watch this channel. New news comes out every day pointing to a drastically changing economic and financial times here, not just in the U.S., but across the world here. All right, let's move on, though, to some other stories here. And we've got this coming out of Meta, that manufacturing jobs, not manufacturing jobs, but just humans in general, are being replaced with AI due to privacy and societal risks. Meta plans to replace humans with AI to assess privacy and societal risk. Okay, I didn't get the sentence right the first time. But the point of this is that humans are being replaced with AI, whether it's at Meta or anywhere else. Of course, they want to replace you with the robot. They want to replace you with automation. Right? When you call a place, you're going to have to go through a menu with 50,000 options to try to get what you need done without getting a human on the phone, right? Do you want to hear your last 5 transactions? When you call a place, they're asking you to do all these things. I want a human. I want a human. I want hit 0 and pound. That usually gets you kind of shortcutted to do it if you're calling a place. What I found is 0 and then pound on the keypad to get you shortcutted to a person, but not always. So you've got companies out there like never before looking to replace people. And this is because the cost of living is too high, folks. People need higher wages, not because they're greedy. It's just because they can't afford to live otherwise. I mean, maybe some of them may be greedy, but when you look at the cost of living, people are going to have higher wages, bottom line. Otherwise, they're going to be working, but yet still in poverty, right? That's no good. You're working and you're still in poverty. You're working, but you can't afford ever to buy anything. You're basically a renter for life, right? It's almost like somebody out there wants us to be renters for life. And this article goes on to say 90% of all risk assessments will be automated, folks. So we're going to see this in the insurance industry where numbers are analyzed, where data is analyzed to look at risk and how much you should charge for people for their insurance, for their home, for their automobiles, all those things. It's more and more going to be automated in AI. So that means less jobs. And that leads us to our next very, I think, dark and dire prediction here. Let me just bring this up here for you. Out of the Sun, fears AI will leave Earth with the population the size of the UK by 2300 and turn entire countries into apocalyptic wasteland. So basically an over 90% drop in the population. Earth will have a dystopian population of just 100 million by 2300 as AI jobs wipes out as AI wipes out jobs, turning major cities into ghost lands. Yeah, the reason cities are crowded now is because that's where most of the jobs are. But wow, it's pretty dire there. They even got a picture with some dark skies there. It looks like AI. But what do you think about this, folks? I mean, it's starting now. I mean, of course, they're saying this drastic population reduction isn't going to happen for a couple hundred years, but are we starting to see it now? We're already seeing the beginnings of the end where people are not having kids like they used to. The birth rate is way down. People are afraid of the cost of raising a child, not just the cost, but the stress. And the stress is largely because of the cost. And we're already seeing this shift happening. It's happening very slowly, right? So it's kind of like a frog in the pot. No one actually realizes that it's happening. And that's why you see comments sometimes even on this channel. What's happening? Nothing ever happens. Nothing ever changes. Folks, it's changing. Just look back 5 or 10 years. Things didn't used to cost this much. Go back even 20, 30, 40 years. People could get by on one income. You could have the wife stay at home, have several kids, own a house, all that on one income, folks. Now that's very, very rare, especially in overpriced states like California. I mean, there's still some states where it's pretty affordable, but when you look at the average wages and incomes in those states, it turns out it's even pretty difficult in some low-cost states or low-price states here. Let's look at a chart that just came out about this, actually. And this gives us home affordability by state. And actually, surprisingly, because they looked at incomes, Montana is the worst because prices are pretty high there. The thing about Montana is you usually get a lot of land, so it makes the land, the properties more pricey. But then when you factor it in by the incomes, it's one of the most unaffordable places, Montana. Of course, California's up there amongst the most least affordable, the worst. We've got most of the western region actually is in the red there. Then you go over to the east. Of course, you got New York, Florida getting expensive because all the people surged down there. Texas used to be, along with one of these green-colored states, for very low cost of living or low housing costs, but it's went up a lot in the past few years with so many people flocking to Texas from states like California and other states. Most affordable would be the darkest green. That would be Iowa there with the highest number. We've got, of course, the entire Rust Belt here, Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Kentucky, West Virginia, Virginia, and Pennsylvania. Then down to the south here, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, up in Alaska. Still semi-affordable. For what you have to put up with in Alaska, I would have expected prices in Alaska to be a lot less than they are, when some of these places are so remote, you don't even have any store nearby. You have to take planes and helicopters or wait for planes and helicopter shipments to come in. It's crazy. I've talked to a few people from Alaska. And in fact, a few weeks ago, I had a client from Alaska, and this was a town called Tojiak. I think that's how he said it. And he was telling me that he just got internet. I'm like, what do you mean you just got internet? What are you talking about? And then he said, go pull up a image of my city. And I guess you can call this a city. Let me just bring it up here for you. Tojiak, Alaska, or maybe Tajiak. Let's see here. Here it is, folks. This is the city. And you can see it's on the coast here. And this guy said he just got internet. I was like, what are you talking about? And then I saw the city, and I'm like, yeah, there's no downtown. It's a bunch of houses. And that's a city, folks. And he says you can't even like ride a four-wheeler out here because there's so much water, because there's so much wetlands out there. And it's hard to even build more houses because of all the areas that are just so wet. And you can't even build out there, folks. So the point is, it seems like it would be dirt cheap to live in a place like this. I mean, but it's actually not. For what you have to put up with out here, and for how different your lifestyle is going to be, you would think that it would be almost free to live in Alaska. But it's not. It's not that cheap. In fact, let's take a look here. The median home price in Alaska is almost $390,000. They're saying $388,800 according to an outlet there. Lower than the median price of $418,000. But still, $388,000 to live. I mean, unless you're in a bigger city out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, of course, Alaska has Anchorage, Homer, some other big cities, Wasilla. But, folks, I mean, I don't know if I'd be able to survive in a city like that person was in, Tojiak. But then again, maybe I'll adapt. Humans, we adapt. And if people have to work at difficult manufacturing jobs, they can adapt. I remember when I was in my late teens, I got a job because my aunt worked in a box making facility back in Michigan. I forget the name of it now. But anyways, it was hard work, folks. It was on your feet all day, picking up, stacking stuff, packaging things. Then you'd get 2 hours at a different machine, then a different machine. They'd try to switch it up to keep it from getting like boring and monotonous, folks. An 8-hour day seemed like 24 hours to me in there. But I adapted to it. I worked there for a summer, and by the end of the summer, I got used to it. I was used to standing up all day. I was a little bit stronger. And, with office jobs, though, transitioning to a physically demanding job and a manufacturing job, it's going to be very tough for this country to actually be a manufacturing hub like, certain people think it's going to be. And also for these manufacturing facilities and these companies trying to bring jobs back and building new factories, look at what's going to happen with the price of steel for construction on these buildings. Look at this. Doubling the tariffs from 25 to 50% on steel imports, folks. So it's going to be very expensive to even build these manufacturing facilities, to build these factories. Jamie Dimon's out there again. He says the U.S. economy is suffering and threatened by the enemy within. I wonder who he's talking about there. Very interesting, the words that we're seeing. All right, a couple more things, folks. More slowing inflation. Inflation rate slipped to 2.1% in April. That's the Fed's preferred gauge. That's the PCE, folks. And that is the Personal Consumption Expenditure Price Index, down to 2.1%. Core inflation was also at 0.1% for the month, higher than the annual level of 2.5%. Consumer spending, though, slowed sharply for the month, posting just a 0.2% increase, folks. What do we tell you right here on this channel? When people have to start repaying their loans, which they're having to do now, especially the tens of millions paying back the student loans, well, some of them not paying, but whether paying or not, it's now impacting their credit. And this is the beginning, folks. Now you're starting to see spending slow down. Consumer spending slowed sharply for the month, posting just a 0.2% increase, while the savings rate surged to 4.9%, the highest in nearly a year. Remember, the savings rate is mostly the top 10 or 20%, most of the bottom 70% down, not saving, in fact, getting further in debt all the time, folks. So that's the report for today on Sunday here. It's June 1st. Welcome to June, people. Summer's right around the corner, graduation time for people that have kids graduating. It's going to be a life-changing year for many families with graduation coming up. My family included. We've got one graduating this year, so it's going to be an adventure, folks. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about this. The dire prediction of 90+% of the population gone. I mean, that's pretty crazy, but it's possible. Or is something going to turn this thing around, folks? Let me know down in the comments. As always, keep stacking. Bye for now. Peace.